wilderness past. The idea of the wild western frontier has long permeated much of the environmental history of conservation and preservation. In the South, one can rarely take the humans out of nature, thanks to the region's long connection to large-scale agriculture and millennia of human settlement. It takes a certain audacity to imagine a national park in such a place. Thus, Southern environmental history lacks the dynamic scholarship on national parks that the American West possesses. From swamp to wetland, then, not only reorients the scholarly conversation about nature protection toward the South and away from the West, but also gives much-needed attention to national parks in a region that cannot hide the continuous presence of humans. From Swamp to Wetland resurrects the stories and actions of the men and women who both spearheaded and opposed the park's creation, introducing Floridian counterparts to the Muirs and Pinchots of other conservation narratives. Although once the site of vibrant indigenous communities, the Everglades encountered by Europeans was a landscape drained of its people. It was a derelict swamp, an unwanted expanse of land deemed suitable only for the Seminole refugees fleeing American expansionism in the 19th century. Later Floridians hoped to drain the Everglades of water, dreaming of an agricultural paradise, and when that failed, to use oil drilling as a shortcut to prosperity in Florida's wild interior. Only in the early 20th century, thanks to the efforts of the devoted Yankee transplant Ernest Coe, did protecting rather than eradicating the Everglades become a viable outcome. Creating a national park took decades, however, and faced both local and federal hostility. Landowners, politicians, and even some Park Service employees pushed back against an Everglades National Park, and Wilhelm argues that their opposition foreshadowed modern conservatism's aversion to environmental regulation. This book does not, however, have a happy ending. Although advocates succeeded in creating a national park in the Everglades by drawing attention to its wildlife and complex hydraulic systems, only a fraction of the Everglades is protected from agriculture and other development. Even within park boundaries, wildlife has declined precipitously. Past and present drainage initiatives and other water conservation efforts further threaten the area's ecosystems. As Wilhelm shows, the very ecological dependencies that the Park Service sought to preserve has made the area more vulnerable to change. For Everglades ecosystems cannot be preserved as the landscape outside its boundaries diminishes. With this book as our guide, we are in a better place to understand whether Everglades National Park continues to protect a wilderness or creates a new one. Aaron Stewart Malden and James C. Geisen, Series Editors. Introduction. On December 6, 1947, Harry Truman took a break from a working vacation at the Little White House in Key West to dedicate Everglades National Park, ENP. The park had been created on June 20th, 1947, but park supporters wisely delayed holding the dedication ceremony until the winter, when the Everglades was cool and dry. The ceremony took place on the west coast of Florida in Everglades City, a small town that residents hoped would become a center of park tourism. Park supporters and local residents treated Truman to a Florida experience. He received